face in the crowd, but you don't seem so far away. The only thing between us is empty space, empty space. And even when the music is loud, I'd rather be no other place than here with you now, here with you now.
And it feels like I'm drowning, pulling against the stream, pulling against the...
Alright guys, so today we're going to be installing these polyurethane bushings. These are for the outer part of the lower control arm, and these are for the radius rods and or the compression rods, whatever you want to call them. And these are some other things that I'm going to be installing in the future. Oh, we have a Motordyne plenum spacer and some Burke test pipes. So those will be going on soon. So for now, let's get to the install of the bushings. I already have the car jacked up safely. I have to remove the tires. And first thing you want to do is remove the 8 strut bar bolts. You have 4 there and 4 on that side. You're gonna remove the strut bar. That way you have access to the 4 points. I'm doing this because I have to grind out the front suspension fork to get so my bushings don't get fucked up. And what I mean by that is this. Oh, and by the way, while you're under here, you can go ahead and start greasing up all the parts. Basically, you're gonna be that little subframe right there. You're gonna be greasing all the bolts for it. And basically, the problem that I'm having now is, you might have seen it from one of the earlier videos, is that's an energy suspension bushing that's all ripped, because in their instructions it doesn't say anything about grinding the suspension fork, which is that piece right there. And there's 3 little nipples on it that have to be ground down so that it doesn't rip up the whole piece. So yeah, let's get started on that. I'm gonna remove the wheels, and I'm gonna start removing the lower control arms. So let's get to it. Alright guys, so these are the 2 bolts that we're going to be removing first. We're removing this outer lower control arm bolt, and this one, which is the inner outer control arm bolt, or lower control arm I mean. And then we also have to remove this lower linkage from the bottom, and then this whole piece is going to drop. And so just put something under here, under the actual arm, that way the suspension doesn't knock it completely down. Then afterwards, you're gonna have to get hold on, let me see if I can get my camera in there. So it's sideways, but there's a cotter pin right, I can't see, hold on. Let me take the camera out of the base, might be a smarter thing to do. Okay, there's a cotter pin right there, which you will remove. And there's also a cotter pin here, which you will remove. Okay, but actually we may not have to remove it. We'll see how it gets there. But yeah, it's those 3 bolts. It's that one, and then these 2 guys at first. Okay, so let's get started with those. So I got the first bolt removed. It's this amazing torque gun. So the second one's going to be a bit more of a bitch, because you can see all the way in here with a 19mm. So let me go get a 19mm socket. Alright, got my 19mm. one I have to squeeze. There. So, gun's in place. So now, just grab the other side with my wrench. There we go. God damn. Why did I ever not buy freaking impact socket? Yeah, we gotta get a little hammer. Yeah, we push it out, and then I'm gonna remove the cotter pin in the front and just drop the entire arm off. So let me get that for you. All right, guys. So you're gonna have the passenger side shock and the lower control arm, as well as the driver's side lower control arm and the driver's side shock. So what I'm gonna be grinding are those little fuckers right there, which you can see would destroy anything. And that was my mistake the first time, because as you see, that basically just ripped it to shreds. And I'm not sure yet if it was my mistake on not reading the instructions well. Perhaps I was drunk, or just the fact that they weren't in the instructions. So anyway, it doesn't matter. Energy Suspension hooked me up, and they actually warranted my bushings. So I will be replacing those with the newer versions, and I'll be grinding those nipples down on each one. So I'm going to go ahead and set up the camera for the grinding session, and I'll show you basically, well, I'm sure you guys know how to grind, so anyway, I'll show you how to do it. So let's do that. So I have the shock. This is the driver's side. I got my little flat grinder. I'm basically just going to grind out those little nipples, and then I have this basically just holding it. It's not even so. Just to show you, I already did one. So let me take the camera off the tripod, zoom out. You see, basically all you're doing is grinding it flush. It's going from that to that. So I'm gonna go in with a file later and, you know, finish up this little notch. So that should be good. That's all you pretty much need to do on all four sides, on the shocks, and that's it. So let me continue with the rest so you guys can watch. Zoom it back in for you. There you go. Sorry if I blocked the camera, but got that one set. So I'm gonna go with the file and just finish grinding it. Just stabilize this a little bit. Too loose for my face. ahead and put. Sorry about blocking the camera. As you go. All these cars. There, that looks a little bit nicer. Just take your time. Do it once, do it well. That way you don't have to come back and redo it. That's it. So let me show you the finished product. So as you see, I mean, it's perfect. So that's what it looks like before, and that's after. So you see it's so now I've ground down both of the suspension arms. I mean, not suspension arms, shock arms. Now it's just a matter of pulling those bushings out with a screwdriver and a hammer, because they're polyurethane, so I don't give a shit. The car now. Alright guys, so sorry for a little bit of a hassle, but alright, so now we have to remove these bad boys here. So this has been soaking with RTV for, I mean with RTV, with whatchamacallit, PB Blaster for about 2 to 3 hours perhaps. So now I'm gonna start removing these covers, which are 10mm bolts, which is this plastic cover. So after we do that, we'll expose all this, and basically what we're going to be removing is this brace, this whole brace. It goes all the way over there and all the way over here, over there. So all these bolts I already added that PB Blaster stuff, so as to make it easier for us, because and here's the kicker, for these bolts, and I believe all these other chassis bolts, they are literally chassis bolts. If you break the bolt or you cross thread the nut or any of that crap, you're fucked. You have to basically cut this bolt out and re-weld a new bolt. So everybody, and I might link you a link on the thread, there's a thread on it where the guy used a regular just a regular socket wrench, not socket wrench, but one of these guys, I forget, sorry, and he did it by hand, and these are about 107 pounds, and since the piece wasn't, like, he had it tilted and it cross threaded the nut and it snapped the bolt in half. So everybody recommends to use an impact wrench for it, so that's what I'll be using, and I'm hoping to God that it does not break. So, and if it does, it'll be on camera, and yippee-yo-ki-yay, right? So let me take this cover off, and I'll bring the impact, and we'll start removing those cross member bolts. You don't need to hold up the transmission or anything, because all you're doing is removing this bar, and that bar just basically holds up this member right here. so you don't have to worry about the tranny falling or something, because this is what holds the transmission up here and that back there, so you'll be fine. All right, let me get these covers off and then we'll continue. All right guys, so let's start on this. I hope I have the impacts for these, because I know that this is a big one. This looks like a regular, it's like a 14 millimeter. So let's try it. There it goes. So we got one off. This one was missing, so I don't know what's up with that. See if I can position the camera so you guys can see better. There you go. So I'm gonna remove these three now. So I believe this is a 17 millimeter. This is also a 14. This is also a 14. So I'm gonna start with this guy. And I wish I had a 14 millimeter impact, but I don't. So don't do this at home, because this could very well turn out horribly. Okay, see how you get that rust? That rust is basically what fucks everything up. So I'm gonna put him there. Okay, good. PB blaster for the win. So I'm gonna go on the other side. These two guys now. Good. No problem so far. Good. No problem so far. So we got. Oh, let me. Yeah. We got that one. So now comes the risky part. Now your 17 millimeter. Make sure this is recording. Yep. All right. So actually, I'm sorry. It's not 17. It's 19. Yep, 19. So, all of you guys, cross your fingers, please. Well, doesn't make sense because you guys are going to be watching after I fuck this up. So, check that you're going the right way. Woo! Alright, we got one out. Alright, guys. Good. The other one out. No. You should. Okay. Well, let's go outside and see what the fuck is going on. So all the bolts are removed, which is a good thing. Now I just gotta see why. Well, it's probably because it's all rusty and old. So I have to go in here a little bit and dry this. That's what it seems like it's doing. So let me check this side. Oh. This bolt's removed. Is it on this one? Nope. Oh, that's right. We gotta remove this arm right here. So, forgot about that. This guy right here. So, let me go and do that. Alright, guys. So, when you get the bolt out, it's probably gonna be rusted. So, you might wanna get a metal brush and just brush them. So, nothing happens. And then I'm gonna apply a little bit of grease just so that prevents any future corrosion. I'm applying it only to here where the base of the rust is. I'm actually not applying it to the thread because I don't want this to come off. I just don't want it to get stuck forever in the future. I go back in and I add more of it. So just, sorry, I'm trying to get it to zoom in. Sorry, it's zooming into the actual. Well, whatever, you get it. Just add some grease to those bolts, and then also grease up all the smaller ones that you took off. Just add a little bit of grease, or I'd probably just clean them, honestly. If you want, add a little bit of grease. That way they're not you know, nothing crazy is gonna happen to them in the future. But that's pretty much all you gotta do. So meanwhile, I had to use the press to push out the old bushings, and as you can see, oops, sorry, my manual, they're out. Those are the sleeves. Those are the bushings. Bushings were kind of fucked. They weren't as horrible as I thought they were gonna be, but anyway, my trusty Harbor Freight 6-ton press for the win again. I got both of them out. I'm going to push the new bearings in, the new bushings in, I should say, bearings. And also, if you can see it, but over there, I got that cross member and I put some degreaser on it. I'm going to get my hose and wash it down so it can be nice and clean. And I also realized that when you have that cross member off, it's really easy to access the catalytic pipes. So I'm putting PV Blast on them now, so I'm gonna see how bad they are to remove. If it's not too bad, I'll remove them. If it's gonna be a pain, I'll just wait for another day. But I will test it out, see what happens. So I'm gonna go wash that piece now and get some water. It's fucking hot, as you can see outside. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I'll be back in a little bit. Alright guys, I have I'll try to shoot from here. I have the arms already in place. Sorry I couldn't really film it. It was really excruciating and I was really lightheaded, so I just wanted to get it through. But I got the arms, all of them, back in place. Well, I'll show you once we get there, but for now let me show you this while I rest. These are your torque specs you're going to be using. You should always use the manual, but I wrote them down here just for reference. This right here is your lower control arm. The bushing that's going against the chassis is 89 to 103 foot-pounds. That is foot-pounds, okay? The end link is going to be 59 through 70 foot-pounds, and the suspension, which is represented by this piece of shit here, goes from 56 to 69 foot-pounds. Now, there's also a nut on the bottom of this arm that is actually I did forget to go look that one up. Anyway, I'll look it up and annotate it, but should be around 50 to 69 pounds most likely. That's the same torque spec as the radius rod that also gets connected to the hub. Now the radius rod, which is, this is the bushing, there's a big bolt in the middle, goes connected to that frame that you saw on the bottom, but this is one side, so this is like the driver's side. So you have the two front bolts are 45 to 47 foot-pounds. The radius rod nut is 104 to 125 foot-pounds, okay? And all these bolts have to be torque to spec under load, okay? So basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna, as you see, I have one jack that's pushing up on that arm. So when it's jacked up, that is when you torque the spec all these bolts, at least obviously for each side. So, and then you do the radius rod for that side as well. These don't have to be under load. And then anyway, I digress. The bolts on the side little wings are also 45 to 47. So basically all the bolts in this little under brace garbage, they're 45 to 47, except for the radius rod bolt nut, which is 104 to 125 foot-pounds. So remember, do this under load, and that's it. So now I'm gonna go get the camera and show you what I've done so far. Well, I already have the camera, so that's stupid. Oh, fuck. Not bad. So, as you see down here, that's the bushing right there. There's going to be a little bit of gap, which is fine. So don't freak out when you see that. It's normally how it is. Yeah. Alright guys, so to recap, here's what you're going to do. This bolt right here, I mean the nut that goes to that lower, the radius arm, it's going to be 104 to 125 pounds under load. So get a jack, put it underneath, and jack it up from the bottom. So then afterwards you have, oh, let me see if I can get that. So your lower control arm, the inside part, that's going to be 89 to 103 foot-pounds. The end link is going to be 59 through 70 foot-pounds, and the bolt right here that goes to the shock is going to be 56 to 69 foot-pounds. And then these two nuts here, this guy and the one on there, they're going to be about 56 to 69 foot-pounds. And also do not forget to put cotter pins, new ones in each one. Do not reuse cotter pins. Okay, you're asking for shit if you do that. Okay, so after you do that, this is pretty much set. Make sure that before you mount your tires and going anywhere, you double check to make sure that everything is where it's supposed to be. There's nothing fucking loose or whatever, and do that, because the last thing you want is any of this stuff falling out when you're on the highway going 80 or faster for some of you with boosted applications. So make sure that all these are correctly torqued to spec. Oh, and torque these guys as well. And once you're done, you're gonna come up here and you're gonna torque these guys to from 25 to 30 foot-pounds. Okay, and try to go in a crisscross pattern. That way they don't get retarded or something. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this side, and then once I'm done, I'm gonna show you the final result with the ride height, which probably should change. Okay, so we'll see. Let me finish this up and then I'll show you up. Alright guys, so back in the garage. As you can see, the clearance is a bit better. Before, this top I couldn't even fit my finger because it would get crushed when it was under load of the car. So it's a lot better for stock suspension. So, and I took it for a ride, and worked perfectly. No bumps, no thumps, no rubbing of any kind. So awesome. So I hope this helped you guys, and you know, next time we'll be installing test pipes. I'll probably take to a shop. One of my friends, one of my good buddies, has a shop, and might install them there and just take a video there, because it's much easier on a lift, and I'm frankly too tired to do all this shit again.
Slowly drifting.